Netflix has a well-deserved reputation for being merciless when it comes to canceling shows. Because of this, Netflix users have learned not to become too overly attached to their favorite shows, because a sudden cancellation is always possible. In fact, the biggest streaming service in the world is doubling down with a number of original shows that have already been announced to be produced in 2022. Here is a list of every Netflix show that has been canceled so far in 2022. First up, First Kill has officially been canceled. Remember First Kill? Well, it suffered the fate of too many Netflix shows, which only lasted for one season before being canceled. This Romeo and Juliet meets Twilight program followed vampire Juliet Fairmount and vampire hunter Calliope Burns as they started an unlucky relationship. It was also well liked by viewers, as seen by the show's 89% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Unfortunately, that was not enough to keep it from being canceled by Netflix, and it was canceled in August after only 8 episodes. Secondly, Archive 81 will not be returning. Netflix has stated that because the spooky series was canceled after just one season, viewers won't have the opportunity to explore Archive 81's secrets any further. The program had received excellent first reviews and was based on the same name horror podcast. That evidently wasn't enough to persuade Netflix to offer Archive 81 a second chance to attract more viewers, since the show has now been declared to be over. This is made even more difficult to accept by the fact that the season 1 finished on a major cliffhanger that now seems doomed to go unanswered indefinitely. Of all the items on this list, the Netflix cancellation hurts the most. Next up, Paris Hilton's reality show will sadly not be coming back. Despite the fact that Paris Hilton is perhaps the original queen of reality television, Cooking with Paris was canceled after 6 seasons. Paris and her celebrity friends would prepare meals, bake goods, and mix drinks on the show, with the joke being that the heiress isn't very skilled in the kitchen. Even while the series temporarily made it to the top 10 on Netflix in its first week, it's probable that the unfavorable reviews were ultimately what brought it to an end. Now, for everyone who couldn't get enough of the Babysitters Club, sadly the series will not be returning. The renowned series of children's books by Anne M. Martin was recently adapted to Netflix. Now, fans might take solace knowing that this contemporary retelling outlasted HBO's 1990 attempt. Despite receiving a flawless 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, The Babysitters Club was canceled after only 2 seasons. The exploits of 5 middle schoolers who launched their own babysitting service in the fictional Connecticut town of Stony Brook are the main focus of the show, just like in the novels that served as the inspiration. Even if there won't be any new episodes, this endearing series is still well worth viewing because it's brimming with the kind of positive optimism that we could all use now. Another show that got the axe? Another Life. As Another Life's first season demonstrated, critics and viewers don't always agree. Despite receiving a pitiful Rotten Tomatoes rating of 6%, Netflix customers seem to find the sci-fi show to be much more tolerable, giving it a respectable 69%. While Netflix decided to renew Another Life for a second season due to the show's popularity, Katie Sackhoff's astronaut Nico Breckenridge won't be taking part in a third mission. To be honest, this one seemed inescapable. The second season of Another Life hardly appeared on Netflix's most watched list, with the streamer remaining mute about its performance. A telltale sign of an underperforming show. Despite being a special effects heavy production with a greater budget than other shows, go binge watch The Expanse's 6 seasons instead, is what we advise. Space Force has also been canceled. Carell and Greg Daniels, the latter of whom adapted the U.S. Office for American viewers, produced Space Force. Carell played the Chief of Operations at U.S. Space Force, a branch of the U.S. Armed Forces that is still under development and tasking with putting boots on the moon in the workplace comedy. The production received a 10-episode series order from Netflix, which premiered in 2020 to mixed reviews. The second season was approved by the streamer, but only 7 episodes were produced. Despite better ratings and a lesser budget for season 2, Space Force was ultimately canceled. Pretty Smart also didn't make the cut. After just a few episodes, Netflix isn't hesitant to axe shows that aren't popular, and Pretty Smart is a prime example of this. After a single 10-episode run, the streamer has canceled the bubbly sitcom. For viewers, the fact that the show ended on a cliffhanger that might never be resolved was even worse. Emily Osment played the snooty, intellectual Chelsea in Pretty Smart. After getting dumped, Chelsea is forced to move in with her carefree sister, Claire Olivia Macklin. The 3 roommates of Chelsea's sister immediately become friends with her, and she also develops feelings for Grant, Greg Sulkin, who also happens to be Claire's ex-boyfriend. Although the premise is standard for sitcoms, Pretty Smart never really appeared to find its audience and had trouble making it onto Netflix's most watched list when it first came out in October. It garnered a mixed response from critics as well, receiving just 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. Another pretty beloved show, Grace and Frankie, has already come to an end. After 7 seasons on the streaming site, Grace and Frankie will come to an end on April 29th with the airing of its last dozen episodes, according to Netflix. For any TV shows, 7 seasons is a terrific run, but for a Netflix original series, it's nearly unheard of. The finale of the show has been delayed substantially due to a production issue with COVID-19, but fans can't wait to bid these cherished old birds farewell. Grace and Frankie, which made its Netflix debut in 2015, follows the titular character's odd couple union after their husbands leave them to wed one another. Martin Sheen and Sam Waterston play their ex-husbands in the show, which features Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin in the lead roles. Marta Kaufman, the show's creator, expressed sorrow that Grace and Frankie's adventures would come to an end on Netflix, but at least in this case, viewers got to spend a lot of time with the two before saying goodbye. Now, this one was a fan favorite and one that will be dearly missed. We're talking about Ozark, which has certainly run its course. Netflix surely wishes that Ozark wasn't going away. The show, which stars Jason Bateman and Laura Linney, is concluding on its own terms with a massive final season that has already finished half of its run. According to showrunner Chris Mundy, everyone involved, including Bateman, believed that the 4-season point was the proper time. As he told Entertainment Weekly, this final statement, quote, is about making sure we didn't overstay our welcome. The Bird family has a chance to get away from their local mafia problems in the second part of the season, but there is at least one catch. On April 29th, Ozark Season 4 Part 2 will debut and wrap out the season. Next up, Raising Dion will not be returning. Based on Dennis Liu's 2015 comic book and short film of the same name, Raising Dion told the tale of Nicole, Alicia Wainwright, a mother who is left to care for her superhero kid, Dion, Josiah Young, when her husband Mark passed away, Michael B. Jordan. After Season 2's debut, the show climbed to the top of the Netflix Top 10 and saw over 108.75 million hours of viewing in its first 26 days on the service. Unfortunately, this didn't stop Netflix from removing it. Another show not coming back includes The Midnight Gospel. The Midnight Gospel was cancelled by Netflix, and co-creator Duncan Trussell announced on Twitter that the show would sadly not be renewed for a second season. The cartoon series centers on Clancy, a spacecaster who travels the multiverse interviewing people for his Spacecast, what us Earthlings call a podcast. Together with Trussell, Adventure Time creator Pendleton Ward created the series. And finally, Lock and Key has officially come to an end. After 3 seasons, Lock and Key will be ending its run on Netflix, but this time both the streaming service and the show's producers agreed to the decision. It has always been the intention for the program to run for 3 seasons, according to showrunners Carlton Cuse and Meredith Averill, who also expressed gratitude for the opportunity to tell our version of Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez's remarkable story exactly the way we intended. The Locke siblings moved to their ancestral house after the passing of their father, and the supernatural thriller series follows them there. When they arrive, they immediately learn the estate is concealing a number of paranormal secrets, including a set of mystical keys with special abilities. After the 3rd season, that will be it. And there you have it, everything you need to know about some of the biggest shows canceled from Netflix this year. Now, make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Which series that was canceled were you most upset about? Are there any on the list that you believe should have been renewed? Let us know, and as always, thanks for watching.